DreAllDay.com.
What's up, everybody? Dre Baldwin, DreAllDay.com. You are here at Q&A. I think this is Q&A number 64. Yes, Q&A 64, where what I do is go over questions from the previous week's Q&A. Answering those questions, which is this video you watching right now, becomes the next Q&A. So all the questions that you leave in the comments to this video, I'll respond to next week, and that'll become Q&A 65. Right now, it is Friday, March 27th. Approximately 11:15 a.m. I record this video every week on Friday afternoons. So if you don't get your questions posted by Friday, then I probably won't get to it. So make sure you get your questions posted early so that I can respond to them in the next Q&A. And I respond to these in the order that they're posted. So the first questions that get posted are the first ones that get responded to, and the last questions will be the last ones responded to at the end of the video. But even if you hear me answer yours or you didn't even ask one, make sure you watch the whole video, because if you ask me a question that I've already addressed in the previous Q&A, then I'm not going to address it over and over again week after week. So without further ado, let's get straight into the questions, as I'm sure anything that I could possibly mention up front, I'll probably end up mentioning during the video. So let's get straight into it. First question is by Plusmaster100. He says, has your YouTube fame gotten you any women? Well, Plusmaster, if you ever see me out with a woman, you can go to her and ask her if she's with me because of YouTube, and then you'll have your answer. Next question, 2K Boss. The 2K Boss says, how many tattoos do you have? What do they mean to you? With 2K, I've already been asked that question like 3 times in the last month, so you can go back to the previous Q&As and see me address that. Kevin says, will playing tennis make you a better basketball player? Kevin, I think playing tennis will make you a better tennis player. If you want to be a better basketball player, play basketball. Next question is Tay P. T-Mac. Says, are there certain things that an off-season should consist of, and is squatting a good exercise to increase your overall athleticism? Or are there certain things an off-season should consist of? I don't even understand what that question means. Tay P. T-Mac, you had to ask me a better question than that and word it in a way that it makes sense. And then he says, is squatting a good exercise to increase overall athleticism? If you want to increase overall athleticism, then you need to do athletic things. It depends on what type of athleticism you're talking about, because different sports, athleticism means being an athlete. So what sport are you an athlete in? And then there are certain exercises that will increase your athleticism for that sport. There is no one exercise that's going to make you a great athlete in any sport, except maybe, I don't know, maybe running makes you better at being a runner. But a sport like basketball has a lot of different movements, so there's no one exercise that's going to make you a great athlete for basketball. And I'm going to assume you're talking basketball because this is a basketball-related channel. Next question. Jabel Sosa says, do you think talent is God-given, or that you can put in work to become talented? Well, it depends on how you define the word talent. I used to define talent as like a God-given ability. Then I started thinking that talent is maybe something that you can develop. So if we just say that talent is a God-given ability, then yeah, well, that kind of answers the question if I was to just put it that way. But you can become skilled. I use the word skilled to mean an ability that you got from practicing, from actually putting in practice and effort to make yourself better. So you can become skilled. I don't think talent is something you kind of develop, because talent, if we use the definition of it being God-given, then it basically answers your question right there. Next question. Matthew Milam says, in your opinion, how many years do you think Kobe has left in him, and do you think he'll get another ring to tie Jordan? I don't see Kobe getting another ring the way the Lakers look right now, but you never know, because there's only one big free agency pickup could change everything. Same way when they picked up Kobe and picked up Shaq and drafted Kobe, and not everyone knew Kobe was going to become so great. So in one big pickup in free agency or one great draft pick, I'm not sure a draft pick is going to make it happen that quick. But anything could change just that fast, especially with a team like the Lakers, who have the allure of the Laker dynasty and also the city of Los Angeles. I think they will be able to attract a big name free agent, a big time impact player. Is that going to help Kobe win a championship before he retires? I'm not sure. I think Kobe will probably play one more season, I'm thinking. Do I think they win a championship in that one season? I'm going to say no. But one big free agency thing could change the whole landscape, so we'll see. Next question. Swaggy Mama says, when's the next set of hoop handbooks going to come out, and will there be a Larry Bird hoop handbook soon? The next set will come out when I get finished writing them. There's no set date yet. Larry Bird is amongst that group. So yes. Next question. Q-Man Christ the King says, how do you feel? He said, do you feel you have reached your peak as a basketball player? No, I wouldn't say that, because if I feel like I reached my peak and then I'm like on the downside, then I probably would just stop playing basketball. So as long as I feel like I can keep getting better, then I'm going to keep playing. So as long as I'm playing, I feel like I can improve in many different areas. Next question. Leroy Collins says, do you think players should play through minor injuries to please the coach or sit out and come back 100%? And this is during an important tournament. Well, first of all, Leroy, it depends on how minor or major that injury is. I can't speak for another player's injury because no person can say how much an injury is bothering another person. So I can't say whether your injury or some other player out there's injury is minor or major to them. If an injury is minor in the eyes of the person who has it, then they probably can play through it. That's why they're calling it minor. If they think it's a little bit more than minor, then they probably won't play through it. So you would have to decide, Leroy, for yourself, if you're talking about yourself, whether the injury is something you can play through or if it's something that you can't. And if the tournament is more important than you playing through the injury, are there any long-term ramifications? Those are all things you have to weigh for yourself, because you're the one who has to get on the court and play, right? It's one thing for a guy in the stands to be like, oh, you should play through that injury, but he don't have to do it. The person who has to play is the person who has to decide. Next question. Donnell Perkins says, who's your favorite NBA player to watch? Michael Jordan is my favorite player to watch. If I had to pick a player who plays now, one guy, I'd say LeBron James. Jay Horn says, do you think you'll ever stop making videos on YouTube? Yeah, I'll stop when I die. That's when I stop making videos. But even then, I'll have somebody who has instructions on how to post the rest of the videos that I didn't post before I died. Next question. Suraya Yas says, what exercise do you recommend for beginners in the gym for strength training? I've been trying squats, but my lower back hurts. Do I have any tips on fixing that problem? Should he keep just doing it and maybe his form will get better, or should he do another exercise at first? As far as recommending for beginners in strength training, the first thing you need to do is the Ultimate Athlete Program, which is available at hoophandbook.com. And that addresses strength training, overall power, quickness, stamina, agility, speed, flexibility, and core power. All of those areas are covered in that program, and it doesn't require any weights or equipment or a facility. And the reason you need to do that first is that you develop a fundamental base of strength in your body, functional strength in your body, which is what you need as a beginner. If you're a beginner in strength training, you shouldn't be running to a squat rack doing squats. And if your back is hurting, that's because your form isn't proper, which means you don't know what you're doing, and you're probably doing it on your own with no one who knows what they're doing helping you. So you need to cease immediately. As Kevin O'Leary on Shark Tank says, I forbid you to proceed. You're going to destroy your body trying to do things where you have no idea what you're doing. So stop doing squats completely until you get with someone who can be there in person with you and show you exactly how to do it right. You can also look up on YouTube. There are plenty of people who have demonstration videos that show you how to do a squat properly. So make sure you do one of those two things before you ever touch another squat rack in your life, before you hurt yourself. And then he says, will his form get better? No, your form's not going to just get better miraculously if you don't know what the hell you're doing. Your form will get better when you get some instruction from someone who knows what they're doing. And you are not that person, so find that person first and then do another squat. But before you do any of that, do the Ultimate Athlete so you can get a fundamental base of functional strength for your body, and then you can move on to the position of power, which is a 10-week strength training program, which is using weights, utilizes weights, facilities, equipment, etc. Next question. Sasukeri says he has a kickboxing competition and he's going to the European Championships. His question is, should he keep playing basketball for the 2 weeks leading up to the competition, or should he stop because he might get injured? And he says, sorry if the question seems pointless, but he's addicted to basketball, so he finds it hard to stop playing basketball. And then he says, okay, and he didn't say anything else. Well, listen, Sasukeri, you are the one who's in the kickboxing championship. If you like basketball, then play basketball. If you are worried about getting injured, then don't play. I don't really understand what you want me to answer here. You're the one who has to go into the competition. You're the one who could possibly get injured. I don't think your chance of injury is that high, but again, I'm not going to be the one making that decision. It's your life, it's your body. You're the one who played the two sports. You decide whether you're going to play or if you're not. Mateo Carey says, Dre, how do you handle a coach that picks favorites? He says a coach coached middle school last year, and he picked every player that played for him before, and he always does that. And he thinks the coach is going to do the same thing again next season. And I guess he's not one of those guys who got picked. He says, is there anything I should do? And if I was in his situation, what would I do? By the way, he loves his videos, and he thinks I'm a basketball mentor to him, to keep up the good work. Well, thank you for that, Mateo. Well, first of all, if you think the coach is picking favorites and he's not going to pick you because he's only picking his favorites, well, you got a couple choices. Number one, you could go to a different team or a different school and go play for them and prove that coach wrong. And if that's not an option for you, then your other option is to either not play on the basketball team because you've already made a decision that you won't make it because you believe the coach is picking favorites, or B, improve your game, improve your performance, and play so well that even though you're not one of his favorites, you still make the basketball team. And if you got enough game, you'll be able to make that happen. So those are your three choices. Next question. Jamel Clark says, at what point in your life did you realize you were in love with basketball? There was no point where I just said, hey, I woke up one day and said, hey, I'm in love with basketball. It didn't really happen like that. I just started playing more and more often, and I got better at it. And when you get better at something, you like to do it more. So there wasn't really any one point like that. If you want to read my basketball background story, you can read my book, Buy a Game. You can read that for free on my website at dreallday.com/BUYAGAME. Next question. Yoel Gide says, Dre, hypothetical question. I'm curious to hear your answer. He says, if you know that you'll live till age 80, would you play in the NBA for 10 years and then cut off 20 years of your life to die at age 60, or have a solid career? Cut off your life at age 60, have a solid career with no rings or MVPs, maybe make all-star, a mix between starter and sixth man, or live till 80 and not play in the NBA at all. Which one would I do? I've never heard of a question like that. I don't really consider that question useful, Yoel. I'm sorry. You got to ask me a better question than that. Ask me something real, not hypothetical. Anthony Titus says, have you ever rolled your ankle or had any injury? And if you did, what did you do mentally and physically to get back to playing ball again? Well, rolling an ankle is, I would consider, a minor thing. Maybe at the most, when people hurt their ankles, I see them miss maybe a day, maybe 2 weeks, and then you come back. I don't consider that really a major injury. And what do you do to get back mentally? You take care of your ankle, and then you get back on the court and you play again. There's not really anything that I would do mentally. You just get it healthy, and when you're ready to play, you get on the court and you play. There's nothing else to it. Matt MSK005. Do you think you are ever capable of playing at NBA level, and if not, could have done something to have made you better? Well, yeah, any basketball player I feel has to feel like they're the best player out there, or the best player in the world, or whatever level, whatever game, whatever court you're playing on. So I have always felt like I could play with anybody. So wherever, any court that I step onto, I feel like I could play with anybody on the court. Cole Rie says he wanted to clarify a question he had asked before. So he says he wants to play JUCO. He wants to play JUCO because his grades are not good enough. He thinks he would need to go to JUCO. And he says he thinks he's behind because he got cut 3 years and his basketball experience is bad. He plays YMCA but nowhere near the high school level. And his goal was to just play college at any level whatsoever. And he's asking, how does he get to that level in a short amount of time, because he's a junior in high school. He works out every day, but he's not sure if it's worth it because he might not ever be good enough to play in college. How does he get to a college level, and is it really worth it because basketball is everything to him? Well, Cole, you just said basketball is everything to you, but then you said you're not sure it's worth it to put in the effort to get good. So which one is it? It's not a question that I need to answer, Cole. It's a question you need to answer for yourself. You got two different ideas in your mind, and the reason why you're not doing anything right now, making any progress, is because you got two ideas which are completely opposed to each other. On one hand, you're saying basketball is everything to you. If something's everything to you, then that means you'll do everything possible to do it. And then on the other hand, you're saying you're not sure if it's worth it. So which one is it? You need to figure that out, and once you get the answer, then you'll know what to do. Next question, Top Notch Sports. He says, considering that D-Wade ain't dead, referring to a hashtag that I use on Twitter sometimes. He said, what do I think Miami is capable of in the NBA playoffs this year? He thinks that they could possibly win the first round series depending on the matchup. No, I don't think so, Top Notch Sports. I think Miami is what they call first round fodder. So if they make the playoffs, they're going to lose in the first round. Next question. Harris Cow says, how can I minimize injury risk when I'm working on my game on high intensity or in actual games and when I lift heavy in the gym? Well, first of all, Harris, in a game or when you're working on your game in basketball, injury can happen to anyone. Injury is not something that we plan on. It's not something that we like, all right, if you do this move, you're guaranteed to get injured. That's not how it works. Players can get injured at any time. If you watch basketball on TV, you're looking at some of the best players in the world. They have the best trainers. They have the best instructions, the best coaches, and they still get injured. So if they can get injured, anyone can get injured because they have people who are studying this stuff, trying to do everything to strengthen the body and minimize injury risk. It can still happen. That's why it's called an injury is an accident. An injury is not something that people do on purpose. It's not something that you can plan for. It's not something that you can plan against. And as far as lifting weights in the gym, you can minimize injury risk lifting in the gym by using spotters and also making sure that your form is proper. I think you can do a little bit more to minimize in the gym because the gym is a controlled environment. As far as lifting weights, it's a controlled environment. There are no random things that just happen to you when you're doing a squat or a deadlift or a bench press or some curls. There's nothing random in the environment that happens. You're just lifting a weight. So if your form is correct, I think you have a much better chance of minimizing injury risk there. But in a basketball game, you got a bunch of random stuff happening. You got 9 other guys on the court doing all random things. You're making movements very quickly, explosively, athletic movements. Anything can happen. So if the best players out there in the world who are in the best shape and had the best bodies and, like I said, the best trainers, coaches, and information, if they can get injured, anyone can get injured. So if you are afraid or concerned with being injured, number one thing you can do is not play sports at all because injuries will happen in sports. So if you don't want to get injured, don't play sports. Next question. Razan Abdullah says, what's one of your signature moves? Any move that I do is a signature move. As long as the ball goes in the basket, the purpose of a move is to get a shot or a pass. Next question. Angel Despang says, a great Q&A. He's a 14-year-old freshman. He's 180 pounds. He's 5'10", and he uses my off-court videos to slim down and be more athletic all around. He says, what are the number out of the week that he should do off-court training, and should he mix it with the days he does on-court training? Well, there is no number, Angel. There's no one set number that's like, all right, if you do off-court training 5 days a week, you'll be this athlete, and if you do it 2 days a week, you'll be like this guy, and if you do it 7 days a week, you'll be Derrick Rose, and if you do it this combined with this, you'll be this. It's not how it works. Every person's body is different. Every person's situation is different. Our bodies all develop differently. Our games all develop differently. What you have to do is, first of all, figure out what it is that you want. What is your overall goal? And it has to be clearly defined, and it has to be specific. What is it that you want? Once you know what it is that you want, then you look at the actions that you're taking and you see the results that they're producing, and then you decide, are these results getting me closer or further away from my goal? And then based on that answer, you can tailor the actions that you're taking to say, all right, maybe I need to do more of this, a little bit less of this, and you can tailor it. You can pick and choose, and you can alter them based on the results that you're getting. Okay, maybe I need to do more of this, more of that. And by trial and error, you can see what's working and what's not working. If you're looking for a specific program, we got all of that covered at the training program site called hoophandbook.com. Next question. GMC says, if someone started basketball or any sport competitively on a local club in their late teens, age 17 to 19, how far do I think they can possibly go? Well, there's no general distance or rule for how far anyone can go. Every individual is an individual. So one person might only play for a year and never do anything. Another person might become the best player in the world. There's no set rule for just because you started at this age means you're going to become this. If somebody starts playing basketball as 2 years old, it doesn't guarantee they're going to become an NBA superstar. And just because you started at age 17 doesn't guarantee that you can't become a pro. It all depends on that individual, their situation, the effort they put in, the opportunities that they create and have, and what they make of those situations. Next question. Buckets says, is it true in basketball that people are just more naturally talented than others? He said he played against some guy in a game, a one-on-one, and the guy whooped his ass really bad. The guy beat him like 16-0. The guy's in 8th grade, while he, the guy who lost, is in 11th grade. But his handles and jump shot are smooth. The person who beat him has smooth jump shot and handles. He says, during the game, even though he's 3 years older than him, the guy made him look like a child. So his question is it true that some people are just more naturally talented? Naturally talented. That's a tough term that sometimes people use, and it's kind of funny. It's tricky using that kind of term when people say that, because when people say someone's naturally talented, usually, I'm not saying this is you necessarily, Buckets, might be, it might not. People use the phrase naturally talented, usually they use that as an excuse. Oh, this guy is more successful than me because he has natural talent. It's not because he actually has put in more effort and practiced more and worked on his game more. It's just because he has more natural talent. It might just be, Buckets. I don't know, because I don't know you, I don't know him, and I didn't see this game that you're talking about. Maybe that guy, even though he's younger than you, he's been practicing basketball longer than you or more than you, or he's just a better player than you, period, for whatever reason. Maybe you just haven't practiced enough. Maybe your mentality isn't good enough. Maybe your confidence isn't high enough. And maybe he has all of those things at a level higher than whatever your level is, and that's why he beats you. So it doesn't necessarily mean that he's more naturally talented. It just means he's better than you, period, for whatever reason. But what does it matter? What does it matter whether he has more natural talent than you? You don't need to focus on what he has. You need to focus on what you have, which is a 16-0 loss on your hands. So what you need to do, if you don't want to lose like that again, is start working on your game. Focus on yourself and what you need to do. Focus on where you can make your game get. Not where anybody else is, not whether anyone else is naturally talented, but what level you can get yourself to from where you are now to where you want to be. Next question. Peter Swersbinski says, what would you imagine your life would be like if you've never played basketball? I don't know. I've never imagined that because I played basketball for a long time. Next question. Irving Fan says, what editing program do you use for your vids? I use, for the most part, iMovie these days. NBA General says, out of the Celtics, Pacers, Nets, and Hornets, who do I think will be the 8th seed in the East and make the playoffs? Says, Miami and Milwaukee have gained some separation and they occupy the 7th and 6th. Can they hold these positions? I think I haven't looked at the standings, so I'm just going to assume that you are correct with what you said here. And he says Celtics, Pacers, Nets, and Charlotte. Who do I think will get the 8th seed? My guess is, that's a tough question. I'm going to go with the Brooklyn Nets. I think Darren Williams has come back, started to be healthy. Brook Lopez has been scoring. Still can't grab a rebound to save his life, but he's been scoring a lot of points. So I'm going to go with the Brooklyn Nets. But any one of those 4 teams can win, but really it doesn't matter because any one of those 4 who makes it is going to get stomped in the first round of the playoffs, and so is Miami, in my opinion. Next question. Andrew Wiggins says, does it really matter how a jump shot looks as long as it goes in and it's consistent? And can I make Andrew Wiggins a Greek freak? I'm not going to try to pronounce his name. And Vic Oladipo handbook. Andrew Wiggins will be coming. Greek freak and Oladipo, I don't think they're in this next group, maybe in the group after that. And does it matter how a jump shot looks as long as it goes in and consistent? In my opinion, no, it doesn't matter. If a shot goes in, you get 2 points or 3 points or 1 point for a free throw. And if it doesn't, then you don't get any points. How it looks, a lot of times people get swayed by that because they hear opinions from people over and over again. But in my opinion, if it goes in, it goes in. And last question, Mo Felix 7 says, greetings from Austria. Who do I think will win the NBA championship? Who's the rookie of the year for you? Who will win the championship right now? I'm going to go with the Cleveland Cavaliers for the championship as long as they stay healthy. And for rookie of the year, I'll have to go with Andrew Wiggins. He's been the most consistent through the season. He's slowed down a little bit at the end of the year, and Peyton from the Magic has come on, but I don't think Peyton's done enough to take it from him. I'm going to go with Wiggins. So that's it. Pretty short Q&A this week. Not a lot of questions, but we'll see what happens next week. Keep coming with the quality questions. Any questions for me, of course, you leave those down in the comments. 1 question per person. Please don't respond to somebody else's question, even if you think you know the answer, because you don't. There's questions for me, so only I know the answer. That's it. Work on your game. DreAllDay.com. Thanks for checking out this video. Make sure you follow all my top content up here. Follow me on all your favorite social networks right over here. And make sure you are subscribed to catch all the new content I put on this channel every single day. Work on your game.